the destruction of Rome, as discussed in the last video, and the consequent disenfranchising of the merchants of the earth, will not lead immediately to the general capitulation of the peoples of the world to the Messiah of Israel. After the type of Pharaoh, at the period of the Exodus from Egypt under Moses, they will harden their hearts during intermissions between the plagues of the seventh bowl of wrath, intent on preventing the emigration of yet more Jews to the promised land, where, as they will assume, even more mischief will be created by this new fanatical and expanding Jewish empire. The long period of history, during which man has been given up to the desires of his own heart, has worked indelible evil in the consciences and emotions of vast multitudes. Not only has it produced the obscenity of the Nazi Holocaust, with its attendant acquiescence of the Allies, but it has, in most people, all but removed the ability to appreciate the genuine promises of God, and the capacity to believe his message, even in the face of strong confirmatory evidence. Preference for the old wine delusions will, in most of the world, and in European beast territory in particular, survive the incineration of the drunken harlot, and lead to the warfare described symbolically in Revelation 19, between the armies of Israel's Messiah, and those of the beast, with his false prophet, and the kings of the earth.
And I saw heaven opened, and behold a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of God. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. And he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty God. And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, Come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great God, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth, and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone. And the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh.
The blood-sprinkled horse rider, whose name is called the Word of God, and his white-robed armies, represent Jesus and his immortal brethren. The birds invited to come and consume the prey are the remnants of the Jewish people, energized by the faithful example and testimony of that initial Jewish remnant, purified in the fires of Armageddon at Jerusalem. Cyrus, who destroyed ancient Chaldean Babylon, was called a ravenous bird from the east, and the words of Balaam, recorded by Moses in Numbers, describe the people of Israel of the latter days, similarly devouring their enemies.
Behold, the people shall rise up as a great lion, and lift up himself as a young lion. He shall not lie down until he eat of the prey, and drink the blood of the slain. God brought him forth out of Egypt. He hath as it were the strength of an unicorn. He shall eat up the nations his enemies, and shall break their bones and pierce them through with his arrows.
Europe is destined, therefore, to become a lake of fire, in which the beast and false prophet nations who oppose the divinely led Jewish forces will be utterly consumed. Thereby justice will be meted out to those who created and those who permitted both the Holocaust of Nazi Germany and that of Gog and his allies. Daniel was given a vision of this destruction of the fourth beast, as described in his 7th chapter.
I beheld then because of the voice of the great words which the horns spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed, and given to the burning flame. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end.
Zechariah distinguishes between the Jews in the land of Israel, who are saved first, and those still in dispersion, to whom the latter are sent as messengers of hope, referring to them as Judah and Ephraim, or Joseph, respectively. This is apparent from the following passage, in which Judah is strengthened, while Joseph is saved.
Mine anger was kindled against the shepherds, and I punished the goats. For the Lord of hosts hath visited his flock, the house of Judah, and hath made them as his goodly horse in the battle. Out of him came forth the corner, out of him the nail, out of him the battle bow, out of him every oppressor together. And they shall be as mighty men, which tread down their enemies in the mire of the streets in the battle. And they shall fight, because the Lord is with them, and the riders on horses shall be confounded. And I will strengthen the house of Judah, and I will save the house of Joseph, and I will bring them again to place them, for I have mercy upon them, and they shall be as though I had not cast them off. For I am the Lord their God, and will hear them. And they of Ephraim shall be like a mighty man, and their heart shall rejoice as through wine. Yea, their children shall see it and be glad, their heart shall rejoice in the Lord. I will hiss for them and gather them, for I have redeemed them, and they shall increase as they have increased.
Micah shows that the nations will have the opportunity to identify with the faithful remnant of Israel and receive of the blessings promised through Abraham, although the tenor of scripture indicates that it will be a minority who choose to do so.
And the remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many people as a dew from the Lord, as the showers upon the grass, that tarrieth not for man, nor waiteth for the sons of men. And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles in the midst of many people, as a lion among the beasts of the forest, as a young lion among the flocks of sheep, who, if he go through, both treadeth down and teareth in pieces, and none can deliver.
Thus to some, the remnant of Jacob will be as the refreshing influence of dew and showers, while to others it will be as a devouring lion. However, the dew will not tarry or wait, and men will have to grasp the opportunity while it exists to separate from Great Babylon. Gentiles who associate themselves with the Jews of this latter-day Exodus will form a mixed multitude, like the Gentiles who went with the Israelites of the first Exodus from Egypt under Moses. The traumatic devastation poured out first upon Great Babylon, and then upon the world at large, following the destruction of Gog at Armageddon, will be a recompense for the wickedness of a generation who have had more opportunity than any other to know better. Even amongst the Jews, only a remnant will be saved, since it is revealed that of the Jews in Israel, only 1/3 will be purged, purified, and saved. Certainly no higher percentage can be expected from the Jews in dispersion. Of the debauched and indulgent nations at large, we are not informed, so far as I'm aware, of the fraction which will survive, but on moral grounds I suggest it must be less than 1/3. Zechariah refers to everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem. Jeremiah describes the slain as being from one end of the earth, even unto the other end of the earth, with insufficient survivors either to lament the tragedy or bury the dead. They shall be left to rot as dung upon the face of the ground. Of the purging of the Jews in the diaspora, God declares through Amos,
Behold, the eyes of the Lord God are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Lord. For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve. Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say, The evil shall not overtake nor prevent us.
Ezekiel's comparison with the exodus from Egypt indicates the severity of the purging process to which the returning Jews will be subjected.
As I live, saith the Lord God, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out will I rule over you. And I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered with a mighty hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, saith the Lord God. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. And I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that trespass against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel. And ye shall know that I am the Lord.
If the approximately 1.5 million Jews in Europe and Russia are going to be subjected to an intense refining fire as they fight their way back to the Holy Land, the 8 to 12 million in the United States and the others scattered throughout the world cannot evade a similar experience. Licentious and self-indulgent civilizations, like those of North America, Australia and the UK, will be devastated in a flood of divine wrath, and only responsive individuals, who align themselves with the faithful Jews, can hope to survive. In the midst of his wrath, God will exercise compassion towards the remnant of the Jews, emigrating to Zion. Moses spoke to the nations about these then far-off times, recording the following words.
And shalt return unto the Lord thy God, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thy soul. That then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity, and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord thy God hath scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out unto the outmost parts of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy God gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And the Lord thy God will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it. And he will do thee good, and multiply thee above thy fathers.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe to get notifications of new videos. Like, share and comment below.